Here to help us understand the survey and break down the numbers, radio host and attorney Adam Thompson. Adam, we thank you for Skyping in with us today here on America's Forum.
Thanks for having me on. Happy 4th of July, everybody.
You too, Adam. Thanks for getting up early to be with us.
And we would love to see a happy 4th of July, but this polling, this international survey, give me some background on it as you understand it, Adam, and then we'll get to some of the results.
Okay, listen, surveys could have numbers that fluctuate. They go up and down. What they really mean and how accurate they are is always topic for debate. But I will say this. We're coming on the 4th of July tomorrow. We should all be celebrating our freedom. And it's very sad that the reflection worldwide is that America, that's supposed to be the beacon of hope, the place where everyone goes to get the American dream and have rights and liberties and freedoms that no other countries offer, is now 36th or even worse on the list because, a lot of people have apathy. They don't even respond to these polls. A lot of people don't even want to acknowledge in this country how bad it is. They keep their head in the sand and they are in some form of denial. But America has been losing its freedoms slowly and surely, year by year, administration by administration, to the point now where I feel like I'm picking up 1984 and we're in some Orwellian type of Big Brother situation, and it's getting scary.
Well, Adam, the results of this next question are, quite an eye-opener. It deals with countries with the highest level of satisfaction. Shockingly, we said the U.S. is nowhere near the top, and earlier you heard me say we're actually behind Uzbekistan, which, many would say it's pretty corrupt. There you have the numbers right in front of you. New Zealand tops the list. Uzbekistan, Canada, Iceland, Finland, Denmark, they're all way above of us. United States, 79%. This is down quite a bit from the last time the Gallup did this poll, which was 2006. I think our satisfaction was about 91%. What does this say about our country?
Well, it shows in a worldwide view, the respect for America and America being this land of opportunity is really diminished. And, when people think of America, the perception obviously has changed worldwide and within our country. I mean, you just have to pick up a newspaper and read it any day of the week. You have to just go on the internet. And, when you think of freedom in America, freedom of speech, freedom of association, right to privacy, all these great rights that we have, freedom from unreasonable search and seizures, they've basically been trampled on the last several years, going back 1 to 2, even 3 administrations. Now, in this age of technology we live in, I'm able to speak to you from a completely different state via Skype. We all rely on computers, cell phones, iPads, all this great technology, GPS systems in our cars, easy passes. But what we don't realize is half of our rights are being infringed upon by using this advanced technology because the government just decides they want to surveil us or get information about us. So if you go on Google and you do a search for a bookcase or some toy for your kid, they're monitoring every search you do. They know what sites you go to. They know what you're thinking about because they're reading emails. They know what you're texting to friends because they're reading text messages. They know your call logs, your call history. When you're getting in your car and you're driving somewhere, they know where you're going because they track that vehicle. This is not the way the founding fathers were hoping our rights would evolve over time, because these are the same things they fought to get away from Great Britain back 200 years or so ago.
Right, and to add to that, Adam, actually Gallup found that 8 out of 10 U.S. respondents complained about basic, what you're just talking about, entrenched corruption in the very heart of the nation and its management. With your background in criminal defense and civil law, being a civil law attorney, do you agree with that statement you were saying earlier?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with it. I agree with it 100%. On my radio show, I actually cover this topic so often because it disturbs me. I mean, there's so many laws that have been passed, again, that, now an American can be held and detained even without a trial. That's one of the more current things that came down. The NDAA Act that came down, which was passed by Obama, snuck in on New Year's Eve when nobody would really acknowledge it. But now if you're an American, if they deem you someone who's questionable or you someone that challenges or questions things, I'm a radio talk show host. Am I on the list now because I raise topics like this and say, are our rights being taken away? Oh, put him on the list. He's questioning things. People can be detained now and held and without a trial. That's a problem.
Right, and I mean, do you think things like the IRS scandal contribute to this?
All these things do. You know, the perception of the government here is no different than a lot of these countries that you raise your eyebrows about that we know are corrupt, because people now have an inherent distrust of our government. You know, it used to be multiple parties, you get the best candidates, you send them out there on a platform, and they all say what their ideas are and how they can make the country a better place, and then Americans vote, and you really felt your vote counted. Now we have, you know, issues where the Republicans and Democrats can't agree on anything except to fight. If it's a Republican idea, push that. If it's a Democrat idea, push that. But crossing party lines almost never happens, and people now are so distrustful of the government. We have shutdowns in the government that should never happen. We have spending on things that should never happen. They want to sue each other over nonsensical things rather than just getting down to business, which is helping the American people. It's so bad now that you can't even almost tell the difference between Republicans and Democrats, because when you close your eyes, people say Obama was the president of change. What change? Half the things he did were expansions of stuff Bush did before him. So there's no change. The only change you see is that our rights went from here and now are evaporating to this. You know, and that's what's sad. And no matter who seems to have been in office lately, it's staying that way.
Adam,
so it's going from bad to worse, in my opinion.
What you're touching on, if we take a historical perspective, from the founding of our nation, there has always been tension between liberty and security. Now, the frustration, and you outlined why some people are feeling cynical about it and the temptation for corruption or abuse of power right there. But as
Remember
I was
what Franklin said, those who are willing to sacrifice liberty to get added security should be entitled to neither liberty nor security. He said it then, and it's right and true today.
And Dr. Franklin also said of the Continental Congress, it is impossible to keep a secret when you're dealing with Congress, because he was on an intelligence committee, the committee on they called it correspondence at the time. But this becomes the question. It seems the litany of what you term partisan warfare doesn't it seem to be more Main Street versus Pennsylvania Avenue with both Congress and the White House? In other words, the Washington establishment, Republicans and Democrats versus the rest of the citizenry. Is that really the breakdown?
That's the breakdown, hitting the nail on the head. It really comes down to 1% versus the rest of the world. You know, there's a very strong elite control of the government and of how things get done. Money dictates things. Listen, the people who eventually make it to the presidential platform to even get nominated or elected and run are people that have a lot of money support behind them. Mitt Romney couldn't run twice without having $150 million each time out of his own pocket. You know, so you have big money behind these people, or they have the money themselves, or a combination of two. So the rich elite are basically controlling who gets into the elections, who runs, who can get nominated, who even makes it to the stage to debate. It used to be anybody can make it to that stage to debate, where you could get different parties' ideas, different individuals up there, and you get fresh faces. Now it's Democrat or Republican, because they took over the debate process as well. So are we even having our real say in who our elected officials should be when you really get down to it? Or is high corporate money and the 1% elite dictating everything, including who we actually vote for?
Going back to personal liberties, though, being infringed upon, Adam, you know, in your experience as an attorney for 25 plus years, have you noticed a change in that personally with the clients that you've been dealing with?
Only about 30 seconds, Adam.
Okay, absolutely. Like I said, we're living in a day and age now where, you know, unreasonable searches and seizures is right there. Our information is being taken right from us from emails and text messages. I'm doing and working on cases right now where those texts and emails messages are going to be used potentially against some of my clients in an upcoming trial. And I'm fighting to keep that evidence out because I think it was improperly obtained.
Well,
So,
Adam,
yes.
maybe the Skype you can use for your closing statements in front of the jury. We appreciate your time today. Have a glorious 4th, and your input very much appreciated.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
So what about the polling? You feel like you're losing your freedoms? Why don't you tweet us your comments at Newsmax TV, #America's Forum. We're coming right back.